Good morning. How are you? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are and when you're watching this. I am Dawn Taylor, and I'm coming to you from Woke to Blush. It is at 104 West Miles in Kingfisher, Oklahoma. It is a secondhand book and record, as in vinyl records, store. Also, there's sunglasses, free apparel, journaling, stationery, things of that nature. It will only be here, though, till the end of May 2022. And then after that, it will be online and from the front yard of my house for yard sales and whatnot. Okay, so this morning's revelation is not so much really as a revelation, but an attempt to maybe speak to someone, anyone out there that this resonates with, that is placed on my heart this morning. Last time I did a video, there was music playing in the background. It was lovely music. I was in that room over there. The radio was right here. And so you could just like hear it as I was speaking. It wasn't really distracting. It wasn't really like blurring me out or anything like that. It was just, you know, playing in the background. It was nice. It was a nice little tune. It was like Erica Campbell, you know. So today I'm coming from right here next to the radio. I don't know if you can hear it. The radio is also still playing. Now, I was Bluetooth streaming, whatever it's called, music last time from one of my other devices to the speaker system. And so it was clear. It was playing immediately off the Wi-Fi, what I was playing through YouTube, through the speaker system here. Right now, I'm on FM radio, which it has a tuner. Some of y'all don't know what that is. You got to actually turn a button, a knob, back and forth to try to get the perfect setting for the station that you're attempting to listen to. And when you're a hair too much to the right or a hair too much to the left, it will cause it to be fuzzy and not too clear of what's being said. There will constantly be, like right now.
So I never really play with them because it's like, it's not fun. Like, I built it.
And you don't have to actually move or do anything necessarily. Sometimes, just depending on wherever the radio station is and however things are set up, it will affect if you get clear sound or fuzziness or an echo.
So anyway, this Wordle thing has become a thing between me and my.
Because I wasn't touching the tuner at all. I'm just touching the volume button.
That's your starter word.
I know.
And some of us who have older radios and have been from a different generation remember that. Same thing used to happen with your TV. Sometimes your antenna would just be sitting in the same exact position, the same exact location, in the same part of your house. Everything else in your immediate situation has not changed. And you may get your station clear and you may not, depending on something outside the realm that you can see. It will affect how clear your perception is, how clear the picture is, how clear the sound is, how clear the message is, depending on stuff that is happening in the unseen. Okay? I don't know if that's resonating to anybody, but it should be, because spiritually, we are all spirit-based beings. If you are watching this, listening to this, and the words coming out of my mouth are translating into your brain and you're understanding what it is I'm communicating. Even if you're using captions. Even if whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, you are a spirit-based being. Okay? So regardless of what you attribute to your existence, if you acknowledge the one true God, or if you are still wondering about why it is you're here on this orb, and what purpose do you serve, and something's on my shoulder, and how you function through this everyday drama and trivial and trials and tribulations and celebrations and triumphs and goodness. If you're still confused on how that works and why it works, then still you are a spirit-based individual, whether you understand it or not. And in the spiritual realm, it is unseen. So if you've been confused for a really, really long time, and sometimes you get hopelessness instead of hopeful about the next day that is to come and how things are going to turn around and how things are going to work out for you, there are things that are in the unseen, not in your immediate situation. There are things that's going on that's outside of the realm that you can touch, taste, see, hear, smell. Okay? Just like the transmission for your TV, radio, or whatever. It just depends on what's going on in that outside universe of how the transmission's going to be, how clear you're going to understand what's going on in your path. So this morning, what I wanted to say is, do not be distracted by what is seen. Okay? I know that there are individuals and your heart is hurt and your heart is broken and you're just generally fatigued with confusion and despair. Like, that's a good way to word it. You're just generally worn down because of the state of your life and your heart and what's going on. And there is mourning and there is grief in the existence of the immediate place where you are right now. Because things are not as you imagine they would be. If that makes any sense, you know? Sometimes we get up in the morning and we, of course, think like we're going to start our day. If you have a job or if you work at home or if you take care of kids or animals or whatever it is, you have a vague thought when you start to open your eyes and come forth in consciousness how your day is going to go. You know, all of us do it a little different, but there is still some part of you that's like, oh, I got to get up. I got to go do this. I got to get the kids. I got to feed whatever. I got to da-da-da-da-da-da. Right? And every day, like every single day, there is going to be some sort of interruption for that. Good or bad. Something happens that keeps what was ever going on in your inner mind from like being performed exactly the way you thought it was going to be performed, right? Like that is 96% of our day or days, is that something interrupts that. Sometimes it's really good stuff. Like maybe we get a text from somebody that's been really sweet and great to us. Like maybe somebody we're talking to, dating, dealing with or whatever. And we get a text and it's like super cool. And we're just like, oh my gosh, that was the sweetest thing. I didn't see that coming. I didn't know that was happening. It just made me feel so good today. Or maybe we get a phone call that there's a situation or a wreck or a hurt loved one, or you go outside and you got a flat tire, or, you know what I'm saying? Your kids just ain't moving as fast as you need them to move that morning. Or you ran out of toothpaste and didn't know toothpaste was low. You didn't have tissue in your bathroom and had to wait for someone to bring it to you. You know, there's things that happen. And depending on our clear perception of what's going on in our seen world depends on how we deal with it and what it does to us internally. But the whole time we're down here doing stuff, people, the whole time we're down here interacting, the whole time we're working and striving towards whatever our goal is or whatever interrupts our day, the whole time there is this unseen part that's interacting, that's doing stuff. There is this spiritual realm that has fuzziness designed to distract, confuse, upset, deter, or the flip side of that. Sometimes there's stuff that happens, you know, like somebody pays you a compliment on an outfit that, you know, you thought was okay, or maybe it didn't look that great or whatever. Sorry, that was a phone call. So there is a interruption. That was Exhibit A. There is an interruption in our flow of things. Okay? And there's always something in the unseen, in the mist, in the works. What I want to strive to explain to you is that you have a purposeful way of interacting with that unseen. Most of us feel powerless to what is going on. Like if we get a divorce, or we get cheated on, or we're treated bad, or if, you know, our bills go outside of our income, if we're overdraft, if we get a ticket, if, you know, our kid gets a bad grade or gets kicked out of school, if, you know, something goes wrong with our pregnancy, or if people fall out of love with us, or someone we were praying really, really hard would be healed dies. A lot of us feel powerless in those situations. Like we're just out here floating around like a piece of lint in soup. Like we're floating around and got no say in it, but we have like all this power. Because look, the whole time I've been playing around with this radio, not only do I have the power to turn it down, turn it off, turn it up, I have all these different functions. I get to push a button and decide what I want it to be on. If I want it on FM radio, if I want it on Bluetooth, if I want it on the CD, if I want it on the record player that don't even work anymore because I broke it. And then I got this other part where I get to tune it to where it needs to be. And there are some people who, back in the day when this was the norm way that you did your radio or your TV, who had perfected the craft of tuning just to the right decibel, just to the right hair, move that antenna just to the right way in the right time of day to know what was going on in the unseen to get the perfect picture that you needed to. I'm telling y'all that ain't know nothing about antennas. There are people. I remember being a kid. I remember being a teenager. I remember my dad being like, oh, it's like 10 o'clock at night and the news is coming on. So even though you watch that same channel that afternoon and the antenna was doing this, now that it's 10 o'clock at night, you got to turn it this way and that way so that you could get the perfect picture. Because guess what? In that unseen realm, for the perception of the radio waves and all that different stuff, it does matter what time of day it is. It does matter what's going on up there. It does matter, you know, if it's windy, if it's a storm, if the satellite dishes is here, there, this, you know what I mean? Like there, you got to be in tune with all that if you want the right perception, if you want to figure it out. So we got power in all this. So this is what I'm trying to get you to understand. Stop taking the perception, the view, the stuff that you hear. Stop taking everything at the way it was given to you as if you don't have power to tune it in to the right decibel. Stop allowing the distraction of the fuzziness and the unclear messages and the confusion and the part that racks your brain, the part that hurts you when you're not sure. When you're talking to a dude, sweet Jesus, when your heart has been given to somebody, you chose to give it to, and they crumble it up and destroy it, okay? Don't assume. I don't know if I'm coming for somebody, but I feel like I need to say this, okay? Don't assume that somebody else that is making you flutter is the answer to the situation that you're in. I don't know who. But stop taking things as you get it, okay? Stop immediately accepting everything that the unseen spiritual realm, because everything is not from God. You have to tune in. You have to set your parameters. You have to pay attention to decipher and filter and figure out what it is of God and what it is that is not of God. And I promise you, you do not want the things that are not of God. You might be thinking like, oh, well, we'll figure it out. Because I am the queen, like the Dawn queen of, like, I don't know how this is going to work, but we'll just see. Like, bro, like that should be tattooed somewhere, visible on me, because I say that all the time. And now that I've Jesus seen another side of God and brought him into another realm of my being, another level, and given him access to all of that that's going on inside of me. Now that my eyes have been opened, the scales have been removed, and wisdom has been drizzled down to me. Now, I see how stupid that statement is. But we do it all the time, in whatever language and whatever words you want to use, we do it all the time and just be like, oh, well, let's see what happens. No, dummy. No. Let's not see what happens, because your life is too important. You are too valuable. You are too worthy. You are too sacrificed for. Someone literally died for you. You're not to die for. Someone already died for you. Somebody loves you that much and sees that much in you that is that valuable and important. You are that worthy. Let's not just see what happens. Tune in, filter out. Don't just accept what the unseen wants to give you. Don't just accept what comes your way and just figure out you'll just deal with it, whatever. As long as it gives you flutters, as long as it makes you feel good, we're gonna just accept this. And then when it doesn't, we'll push that on and we'll move on. Stop being stupid. Like, hello, sis, bruh. Like, come on now. Stop being stupid. Like, who does that? Like, if you really think about it, who does that with anything else? Do you go to fast food places or restaurants and sit down and order a meal and then they just bring you anything and you have no idea what it is? You can't recognize it. It's not what you ordered. It's not what you were looking for. It's not what you have an appetite for. It's not what you have a desire for. And then you just think to yourself, well, okay, we'll just try it and see. No. Do you order something online and pay a lot of money for it and then get a package that is totally not even what it is that you desired for, that you planned for, that you spent and sacrificed money for, and then it looks totally different and even disgusting sometimes, and you just think, well, I can still use it for something. You don't order a TV and get a stapler and be okay with it. No, sis. No, bruh. And I'm all about the fact that God brings us things into our lives that's not as we think it should be, because his thoughts are higher than our thoughts, which means not only is he literally above us, like physically in this other spiritual realm, so therefore his thoughts are just like, oh, holier than thou and all that kind of stuff. Like literally his thoughts have more merit and value, and I don't really want to say value like your thoughts are not valuable, but you know what I'm saying? Like when you have diamonds, like there's certain degrees to them, right? There's characteristics. There's characteristics to them, carats to them, and there's one is still valuable as the other one. Like diamonds are still valuable, right? But there are some that, you know, because of all the stuff that's in it, it's like just seen as whoo, like a little bit more, right? Like that makes sense. So I mean, God's thoughts are just like of more clarity. Thank you, Holy Spirit. His thoughts are just of more clarity than ours. Okay? Which some people may seem like, well, it's more valuable. I mean, that's what I think. But I'm just saying, like, don't be like, well, my thoughts are stupid. That's not what I'm getting at. I'm just saying that God's thoughts make more sense because there's more clarity to it. Okay? So the thing is, yes, he brings us stuff that is not the way we thought it should be. Don't get confused what I'm saying right now. Okay? It's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying like you only accept and take and deal with stuff that's exactly how you wanted it to be. No. But what I'm saying is, if you're in tune to the things of God at all, even in the smallest degree, if you're just desiring, if you just have these prayers to him, like, Lord, please do something with my life. Lord, please heal this hurt. Lord, please figure out what's going on. Please provide. Please, you know, put into place, like, I don't know what I'm down here doing, Jesus. Come on, I need help. If you're doing any of that, you know what I'm saying, then there's a consciousness of you that is striving for something in the unseen. Okay? Your spiritual is thirsty and is calling in and pulling down and wants something done and different in your life. Okay? So I'm saying, like, he's giving us these desires that he created in us, along with our personality, along with what we do, along with who we are and all this stuff, for a purpose and a reason. And so sometimes those desires get pushed back and pushed down and like muted and even changed because of the other stuff that we do and the confusion from the distraction, from the noise. Okay. But those desires are still there that were given to us by God. So when that desire links up with the desire that you put out a request for, as in you ordered, you sent out, you wanted, like I was talking about with the meal or the package. When that comes and it is not what was already downloaded and decoded in here, then don't just accept it and say, well, it's good enough. Okay. That's what I'm saying. Just because of the confusion and the noise and everything else, like, I'll just deal with it. Like, because in nothing else in your life do you do that. This is what I'm trying to tell you. Nothing else in life do you do that. I don't go to the hair store and buy a wig and then they package up whatever wig I buy, and then I get home and it's like super stupid and crazy looking and not nothing that I bought, and then I just put it on my head and keep on wearing it. Hell no. Hell no. That's not what I do. Because see, the things that you care about, I'm just trying to use these examples because of the fact that each and every one of us have things that we really care about that is like superficial or whatever level, that are things that we really desire, that we really care about, that really mean something to us, because every one of us has at least one thing that we're particular about. And if somebody messes up that one thing that we're particular about, we're going to speak up, or we're going to ask for an exchange, or we're going to do something different, or we're going to not use it, or we're going to still seek out the other thing. That's how we all are. Everybody. But what we do that is stupid is on these really important things, these really big things, like where our heart goes, who we line up our life with, how we do business, who takes care of our children, who we invest our money in, these really huge, important things, we won't be particular about, because we'll be like, oh, I just hope it works out. Quit doing that. This is what I'm saying. I know there's noise. I know there's distraction. I know it's hard sometimes to get to that right decibel and move that antenna, move that filter. It's hard sometimes to figure out the exact way to punch in the right code. I know that. But you know what? You know why there's so many people in this generation that don't know how to nothing to do with these tuners? Because wiser people and technology have created where it's almost obsolete now. Your radio doesn't really need that. It doesn't need you to go. There we go. There's my favorite song. There's my station. Hold on. Just right there. We don't have to do that anymore. I mean, some people still do. Obviously, I still got mine. Some people still do, but we don't have to because wiser things are in place that allow us where we don't have to do that anymore. And guess what? Segue. Holy Spirit. Jesus. You don't have to do all the work to figure out what makes sense while you're in the distraction and the confusion of noise in life. Okay? So my plea this morning for you is take out the time and recognize that God has this figured out. Like, sis, bruh, these are important aspects of your life. Let the one that created you have a say. Let him filter out some of that stuff. Let him get you right on the right degree, the angle, the perception, the point that makes sense. Okay? Let him do what he do. Because he knows exactly how to do it. Let him do what he do. And you have power over that choice. You have power every single moment of every single day, during every single transaction, to bring him in and filter through all that noise and confusion, or not. But I promise you, it's better if you bring them in. Stop accepting these stupid packages and the stupid things that you did not even order on the humbug of maybe it'll work out. Let's see. Because your heart is too important. Your money and investment, because it's not even about like the financial part of it. It's about the fact that like this is actually investment, like what you do with your time and your heart and your energy and your cash and your efforts. Who and how you invest that is too important. Pay attention to the one that's setting the satellites and the decibels and the degrees and the angles and everything in place for you specifically, and let him do what he do. Because he wants to, and he desires to, and he's good at it. Okay? I'm just telling you. I hope there is somebody that watches this, because I feel like there is somebody who's watching this who is playing Russian roulette with their heart. You are attempting to be so busy in the rejection of clarity and perception that you are just running from one bad situation to another bad situation to another bad situation. Just flipping the little, whatever the little rolly part of a gun is. Hoping that you ain't on the bullet this time. You know what I mean? Thinking that you missed the bullet last time, just flipping it again. Hoping that ain't what this is now. Like in the depths of your heart, you're just like, I don't know, we're going to see. Because right now it makes me feel good. Stop doing that, sis. Stop doing that. You're too valuable. Okay? All right. Y'all have a great day.